How is it that we find ourselves here again, my dear brother?
Like Slender.
Oh, yes. Once again, a slanted attic roof. A single window. But that, my dear brother, was a simpler time.
Can you see the stars tonight?
Not quite as brilliantly as you can, I'm afraid. That seems to be the case quite often. No chrome white, zinc yellow, or cobalt blue.
I could never quite paint things as I saw them through my eyes.
I have learned to prefer the story that your paintbrush tells. An explosion of color with swirls and patches. Visible brushstrokes that burst into a fever of emotion. You were all that they talked about at the 6th exhibition of the Independents. Monet wrote to say that you were by far the best there.
I always wanted to die like this.
I'm afraid that you can't. You must be saved from this pain once again. We've been here before, remember? A bandage wound tightly round your head and all. Spare me the sadness,
Not
brother.
the sadness, dear brother. It will last forever. If I recover, I will have to try again.
My name is Dr. Paul Ferdinand Gachet. I treated Vincent here in Auvers-sur-Oise. As a fellow painter, I saw a lot of myself in Vincent. We even looked a bit alike. But he was far more talented than I. I spent hours trying to copy some of his works. I envied his talent. I encouraged him to paint from sun-up to sundown. He seemed happy here, well, when we weren't arguing. Perhaps we were too alike, he and I. The brothers talked for 12 hours. Theo never left his side that night. There was nothing more I could do. We could not retrieve the bullet. Your brother was a great painter. I cared for him deeply. I wish there was more that I could do. I wish there was more that I could have done. Vincent, I am sorry.
I'm Jo Bonga, Theo's wife. I'm in Holland with our baby, Vincent Willem, when a terrible letter arrives. Theo tells me that our dear brother Vincent is in a precarious situation and that his life is hanging in the balance. He has gone to Auvers straight away to be with him. I've grown close to Vincent, through our letters and through Theo's stories, but mostly I've grown close to him through his art. Every wall in our apartment in Montmartre is covered with paintings by Vincent, above our bed and above our baby's crib, above the dining room table and in the hallways, leaned against the walls and under the dressers. Our home is a world painted by Vincent. Scenes of his life in Arles, Antwerp, and in The Hague, the faces of his friends and lovers. He painted an almond blossom tree for baby Vincent. It was so real you could reach out and touch it. Theo told me I couldn't have him without Vincent. What will become of Theo if the worst was to happen? He tells me he still has me to live for, but I worry that might not be enough. I'll be waiting for you in Amsterdam when you go tell your mother.
Do you remember a time before all this? A walk, a pledge, the stand with milk for sale.
The mill in The Hague. I remember. It is one of my happiest memories. The light glistened. The rain had just stopped. Yellows and light Veronese green.
You always wear colors.
You didn't always think so. You thought I was.
Dutch artists are not known for the color. You always preferred your muted brown and black tones of Rembrandt and Vermeer. You loved your black. Well, that was until you finally visited the Rijksmuseum and saw what the Impressionists were doing with color, with visible brushstrokes. I remember the day you sent me a letter telling me you wanted to become an artist. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It has been many years since my brother and I shared an attic room in our childhood home of Zander. I am now the regional branch manager for Gopal's branch in Montmartre. I take after my uncles, selling art to rich patrons. I desperately want to show off the work of young modern artists who call themselves the Impressionists. That will have to wait. Vincent is at home, living with our parents in Eton. He has failed at his third career, his most recent, a preacher, like our father. He thought his path was with God, and even that path has failed him. It has been over a year since we have spoken. I suggested on behalf of the family that Vincent work as a lithographer or a baker. He was overcome with sorrow that I, too, misunderstood him.
Doris, this is his third visit home in a month. His appearance is worse every time we see him. He is gaunt and frail. Can't you try talking to him again?
I've tried many times. Last time he was home, we took a long walk on the heath. He kept silent with his intentions. I fear he may never be able to properly support himself.
He is moody and upsets his sisters. Anna cannot bear to be in the same room with him. She worries he causes us great unhappiness. Thankfully, Theo is having some success in Paris and is sending the little he can to help with Vincent. What are we going to do about him?
He's better off at home than he is in the Bornage. Took a vow of poverty.
Which he wasn't asked to do.
If you gave him a fresh shirt or a pair of shoes, he would give it away as soon as he took one step to leave. He would rather wear rags than be a respectable preacher. He can't seem to follow any rules given to him.
What is in store for him? Is he to travel the world as a pauper in rags and tattered clothes, reading Charles Dickens and mumbling to himself? I can't take the stress of worrying about him. He can't provide for himself, can't find a proper job other than selling drawings for a few scraps of bread. Doris, you know he is not right in mind.
He is now 27 years old and is a struggle and nothing else.
Please, talk to him again for all of our sakes. Find out what he is thinking.
You've been here several months now, and you continue to worry your mother. You have no plans to support yourself, and your temper flares up again and again, scaring your sister.
I have been working at something. I thought about what Theo said a year ago at the Bornage, about being a lithographer and making letterheads. I was upset at the time, but I've been working on my drawings.
Vincent, you cannot stay here playing at drawing. You failed as an art dealer, failed as a teacher, failed as a preacher. Do you think your mother and I have forgotten when you dropped out of theology school? To have kept your job with evangelicals, preaching to the mining community, if you had just listened to your bosses. No one asked you to take a vow of poverty, sleeping on the ground in the dirt, eating stale black bread cold, covering your face. Your mind is not strong.
Well, it is my mind that drove me to those extremes, but it is my mind now that pulls me back out of those extremes too. I'm happiest when I'm connecting with God, to the beauty of nature, through the glowing yellow of the sun, the twisted knots in the trees. I want to create art, to create something beautiful to leave to the world. I want to try.
Vincent, your mother and I have talked about this in great detail. We cannot continue to support you. We want to declare you war of the state. There's an institution, a psychiatric hospital in Belgium. You could have some freedoms there.
Oh Lord, join us intimately to one another. Have you forgotten our family's special prayer, the one you made us recite?
Vincent, it is for the good of the family. You still are a Van Gogh.
Perhaps it is the other Vincent Van Gogh, my stillborn older brother, whom you are bound intimately to. Perhaps when he died, your hopes and dreams for your eldest son were buried along with him in the cemetery next to the parsonage. Levin Luce. It is he, not I, that is lifeless.
How could you say such a thing?
You gave me the same name!
It's your grandfather's name!
I saw that tombstone every day with my name on it! I will leave at once, but it won't be for the hospital in Belgium. I can never forgive you. I can forgive you for naming me after a ghost, forgive you for placing your hopes in the ground where I could never reach it, but I can never forgive you for this.
Please stay close by.
My dearest Theo, these many months in the Bornage have been dark. There is a profound loneliness I cannot properly describe to you in words. I am so deeply hurt, abandoned, and alone. I have lost all I hold dear, family. And yet, out of this deep and somber darkness, I began to pick up the pencil. From the ashes, creation is born like a phoenix rising. There's been a year of silence between us. Let's have it not go on any longer. We have since become strangers to each other. Let us once again become brothers.
My dearest Vincent, with a firm handshake, I say that I am happy to hear you are well enough to begin drawing. I am also pleased to hear that you have reconsidered the idea of creating letterhead or becoming a draftsman. I miss our intimate bond. I know that at the time you took our conversation as a slight, but I hope now you see it differently.
My dearest Theo, I was so happy to receive your letter, and I hope that slowly and surely we can rebuild our bond together. I can't help but think of that walk to the mill so many years ago, when we made a pledge to each other. We pledged to not leave each other's sides, to follow our destinies intertwined together, to make a difference in the world. I believe that I have found a path forward to leave something beautiful to the world. I'm happiest when I'm drawing.
I believe you have the skill to become a proper draftsman if you only continue to work on your drawing. Draw accurate pictures of furniture and machine parts. Not everyone has the luxury of being born into a wealthy family, so it will be very important for you to rebuild our family's faith in you by becoming self-reliant.
Please send any artwork you have of artists such as Malay and Breton. I'm drawing so much every day. Theo, everything has started to change for me. As long as I have your support, I have everything. You won't regret your confidence in me. Your loving Vincent. I tried living at home again. I fought with Pa, I fought with Ma. They don't understand me. Theo has been supporting my art for months, and now he writes to me that he doesn't understand me either. I write to him telling him that we must be patient with one another.
I sent a third of my salary every month to support Vincent. I tell him to continue drawing and to keep peace with the family. His progress is slow, and our journey won't always make sense, not even to me.
The worry over Vincent overshadows our family's happiness. He refused to attend church on Christmas. I don't know.
Theo is doing so well in Paris. He has taken on the burden of his brother Vincent. If only he could remove the burden from my heart.
I loathe him. He has made life a misery for our family. He is irrational and combative. I stayed with him in London for a time. It ended badly. Nothing with my brother lost.
Both Vincent and my brother Theo write to me. They know I will keep the confidence.
If only he was responsible and could care for himself. He refuses to eat properly.
He is judgmental and delusional.
He wants to make something of himself. He tries hard. He upset my sister Anna at her wedding. He always did call her the charming sister.
I advised him to smoke a pipe when he's feeling a touch of melancholy.
I taught him how to draw.
And to take long walks. He talks to nobody but Theo.
He talks to me. He talks to Anton von Rappard and Cousin Mauve. He talks of art.
Talks to me about Jules Breton. He admires his work. He is a great artist. He tells me he spent his last bit of money trying to get to Breton's house.
I taught him to use watercolors. He doesn't listen and he struggles with technique.
He can only afford the passage halfway. He has to walk the remaining 20 miles. But still, he is too afraid to knock.
He struggles drawing people, forms, shapes. He lacks skill. He is old to start. I advise him to draw from plastic casts, and he rejects the notion as he rejects all advice.
He turns around and walks the 50-long-mile journey home.
He wants to draw people from life. He draws peasants and prostitutes. This is not the path of a respectable artist. As an artist myself, I cannot approve. He's offensive.
He is my brother.
What if he had knocked?
What if he had knocked? What always stops him? He has to improve.
I have to improve. He is dogged, I will give him that. He copies the work of masters. He draws from figure plates hundreds of times. He sends me sketches.
He sends me sketches.
He sends me sketches. He is working hard.
I am working hard. I need to draw from life. I need a model. He needs to draw from books.
But what if he had knocked?
Hello? If it would please you, I would like to draw you. I can pay.
Excuse me.
I have a little money. Well, actually, I have very little money, but I'm willing to share if you'd let me draw you. I'm working on being a draftsman.
A what?
An artist.
I don't know.
I can teach you to pose. I can train you. I can pay you. I can feed you. I can share the little I have. I see you have a child and a child on the way. Let me help you, and you can help me. My dearest Theo, life here in The Hague is good. I feel I'm growing here as an artist, and I work tirelessly, morning till night. Uncle Cor has requested I draw several views of The Hague, and I continue to work on my watercolors, despite a fight with Cousin Mauve. We have a different view on drawing from life, as it seems. I've been working with a model. I've enclosed several drawings, but I would very much like your opinion on my progress.
Have you told him?
Dearest, I've enclosed several drawings of you already. I think you will see the progress I'm making.
No. Have you told him about us? About the baby? We need more money, Vincent. This place is too small for all of us. We're not eating nearly enough.
Theo sends all he can. I don't need much. You said you were fine with bread and coffee. I can't ask him to support all of us. I'm happy here with you, and I look so forward to the arrival of your baby. I will help you raise him. It is the right thing to do. Please.
How will you help raise a baby? You can barely feed yourself.
Theo has just sold several drawings, and my uncle has requested even more. I will work harder.
You need to tell him to send more money.
Oh, please leave it for now. You must tell your brother that he is supporting a prostitute and her children. He supports you out of pure brotherly affection, and you spit in his face. How am I to send a woman who's with child, 2 children, back to the streets? I want to do the right thing. I want to marry her.
Marry her? A prostitute with 2 children? That would be an outrage.
She's in much trouble, and she's learning to pose. She's good for my art.
What art? You are not an artist.
I'm all she has.
Then she has nothing, for you are nothing. Tell your family or I will.
Dearest, are you awake?
I'm in constant pain. The baby makes it hard to sleep. And the hunger gnaws at me.
My sweet seed, I don't have much, but I would like to marry you. You are learning to pose better every day. You're good for me. You bring a woman's touch to this humble place. I will help you raise your child. It is the right thing to do.
How? Have you told your brother about us? Have you asked him for more money? We need a bigger place.
I was given no choice but to tell him. I wanted to wait, but Cousin Mo threatened to tell him and my family if I did not.
And what did he say?
He hasn't responded.
Then tell him again. Tell him you are desperate. Tell him the baby is almost here. Vincent, all of this is true.
Sean, I want to be a better man than those you've met before me.
If you cannot provide for me, I cannot stay with you.
What does that mean? You cannot go back to the streets with a child, 2 children. You may not have much with me, but you have someone to look after you. What would you even do without me?
I would jump into the river and drown myself.
What? You have children to care for.
You asked me what I would do. You may not always like the answers to the questions you ask.
So that is it, then. If life were difficult, you would throw yourself into the river and drown yourself.
If that time came, then yes.
Our situation grows even more desperate. I will write to him. My dearest Theo, it has been 2 weeks since your last letter.
I visit him, I give him a little money, and we talk about art.
I stay silent.
Ma worries endlessly, and I have no great hope for him.
There is no color of happiness when he is around.
I miss my brother. There is no color of happiness when he is not around.
I have no interest in him or his situation. I feel sorry for his brother.
The baby is born, a boy they name Willem. For a time, they are happy. They are a family.
Like Sundar.
Like Sundar. Little Willem learns to crawl. He pulls my pant legs and I put him on my lap. He watches me draw.
He makes me laugh.
He makes me laugh. He makes me smile.
I do not approve.
I do not approve.
I do not approve.
I rent a larger apartment.
I do not approve.
Something has awakened inside of me. I feel that there is a purpose to all the struggle and a meaning.
He writes to me.
I write to him.
He promises me he will not marry
I
her.
promise I will keep peace with the family.
I send him more money.
I buy paints and brushes. I begin to paint in oil. Something has awakened inside of me.
He asks me if I would become an artist alongside him. 2 brothers, 2 artists.
1 person, 2 hearts.
I affirm my pledge to him.
I have no faith in him.
I have no faith in him. Help us, Theo.
Help me, Theo.
For a time, they were happy.
Vincent, I'm leaving you.
My darling, a 3rd letter has arrived from your brother today. Is something wrong?
What a question. With Vincent, it could be nothing or everything.
Read this one to me, will you?
Why? So you can hear him droning on about how we should get married. If only life was as simple as Vincent would make it.
And why couldn't it be that simple?
Well, for one, you're a Catholic.
Yes, and the second reason?
Dear Marie, don't make me say this to you again. You know how it pains me to hear the words from my own mouth.
Perhaps if you said it again, you would hear the absurdity for yourself.
You know that my family would not approve of me wearing a woman from a lower class. I did not make the rules. My dear, look at Vincent. Look at the situation he found himself in. Supporting a woman with children. A noble deed, yes, but the family. It was an outrage.
How could you compare me to a woman from the streets?
Do I not care for you? Support you? Why always talk of marriage?
Read the letter! Let's hear what fine advice your brother has for you today. Sometimes I feel as if he is the only one you truly love.
He talks of art, the drawings he's been doing.
And?
Vincent has always been the romantic. He loves the idea of love. He calls it life's greatest mystery.
That certainly is the truth, isn't it? So are the contents of this letter. Keep reading.
He says he is terribly lonely without Sean and the children. Did I tell you that he is back home living with our parents? Paul has told me of the difficulties of living with him in our most recent letter. I only hope that he can remain civil this time.
What did he say about me in the letter?
He thinks that we should get married. He thinks I would be happy if I had a child. But that is what Vincent thinks. You don't seem to care what I think on the matter.
I don't know if you have your own thoughts at all. Between your parents and Vincent, there isn't enough space for your own thinking.
Now that is not fair. You know that I love you, care for you. I need more time.
I'm working on drawing, painting, and figures.
You are making such slow progress.
I should have never become
When did you decide to become an artist?
I can learn. We can learn together. We can become artists together.
When will you give up these childish ideals? We had a plan, you and I. You were going to learn a trade to support yourself.
Let us not grow distant from each other. You are all I have.
Keep peace with the family. Let me tell you a little about perspective. Depending on where you are standing, the image begins to change. Shift a little to the left or a little to the right. You see a completely different picture. The closer an object, the larger it appears. The farther away an object, the smaller it seems. All on a two-dimensional canvas. The distance grows with Vincent. Perspective. I need more time.
My dearest Theo, everything has started to change for me. I've tried taking your advice, lightening up my palette, moving away from the muted browns and blacks of the Dutch masters. Started to practice color theory, oranges and blues, greens and yellows. Can I still use black at all? Is it permissible? I try squinting my eyes to see the world through shapes and outlines. I wish I could see what you mean. I wish I could come to Paris and see these colors with my own eyes. But it is far more than the practicalities that keep the distance between us for now, dear brother. I have good news to report. It seems a fire of color has grown inside of me as well, for I am in love yet again. Margot, darling, I thought I might find you here. These past months have been the best in my whole life. You've helped to put Sean and her children out of my mind and showed me how to open my heart again. We've spent such a wonderful amount of time together, you and I. When I told you that I wanted to marry you and you wanted to marry me, it was like 1,000 suns had warmed my heart. Darling, please do not fret.
Vincent, you do know that I want to marry you.
And I feel the same.
But we have spoken to our families, and it cannot be.
We will just give them more time. They will see how in love we are.
My older sister is not yet married. Father says...
We will give him more time. I'll speak to him myself. I thought I was in love before, but now there's only you. You were the love I could only have dreamed about in books. I will not walk away from that. I recognize you are feeling far more than love. I know despair, and it is haunting. It will push your head below the water surface and hold it there if you let it.
My brother worries I'm headed for a mental collapse. I cannot stop my hands from shaking.
Let me come hold them. Margot! Margot, are you all right? Have you hurt yourself?
Help me.
Have you taken something? Let me get you to the doctor immediately. Please, Margot, stay with me. You did not need to do this. Margot, darling, please.
I'm sorry about the Bethlehem girl. The doctors said it was poison. It did seem awfully soon to be in love again. Perhaps this is for the best.
The doctor was able to cure her, but not completely. She's still very weak.
I am sorry to say that I will not begin to be able to sell your paintings for another 2 years, at the earliest.
I'm afraid you won't be able to see the girl for another 2 years, at the earliest.
It is still too weak.
She is still too weak.
Keep painting.
Keep praying. Vincent, do you remember those long walks we used to take on the heath? We used to breathe the fresh air, clear our minds. Let's do that again.
Vincent sent for Theo! Hurry! Call for a doctor! Pa! Pa!
I gathered some of these from the funeral. I thought perhaps you would like to start work on drawing them.
I could perhaps try to make their beauty last a little longer. Would you like to take a look at my paintings? I've been painting flowers.
Yes, of course. Vincent, I am impressed. You have made such progress since I last saw you in The Hague. Being on your own, you have recommitted yourself.
It is difficult for me to think about what I did to Scene. Leaving her with the children. She could be dead by now for all I know. It is hard to live with.
Vincent, you said so yourself. The family wanted her to leave you, that you couldn't support her. I know that you do not want to hear this. Let us not waste our time bickering about the past. Let us look to the future.
The future? What does that hold for me?
I know that I have not told you this, but I think that you should continue painting. Out of all the mediums that you have worked at, this one seems to speak to you.
It does.
Some of these are good enough for me to take home to Paris with me. Maybe this one. You know how my bosses are sticklers for the old salon styles. But perhaps I could hang 1 or 2 of these in the entrance.
Really? Alongside the Impressionists?
Perhaps.
Theo, what will happen now that Pa's gone?
I am sure that you can stay here for at least the remainder of the year. We will work all that out at a later date. For the time being, one thing at a time. You must take care of Ma.
What do you think about me coming to Paris? I could go back with you. You said yourself how much better I'm getting. I need to be around new artists who understand color and light. I need to see their work in person.
Now is just not the time. We are just re-getting our footing. Let us not spoil it.
How can I grow here?
Like all other things that grow, they find a way.
Theo, no, I have noticed that you have not been well. You look frailer, sicker.
It must be from the long train ride.
No, it is more than that. I barely recognized you when you showed up yesterday for the funeral. Let me take care of you. Ma has our sisters.
My situation in Paris is complicated. I have Marie, at least for the time being. I have my job. When the time is right, we can discuss you coming to Paris. For now, let me take just the paintings and see how they fit. Then, in due time, we will see how you fit.
It has been a week since Pa died. I cannot stand living with Vincent a second longer. Why didn't Theo take him with him when he left?
He hasn't left his room in days. He talks to no one.
He is really making something of himself. I showed his art to a fellow art vendor the other day who said it had promise.
When Vincent showed me his latest work, I despised it. I found it quite cruelly drawn and amateur. The faces were disproportionate, the palette muddy. He couldn't be serious. It was almost as if he had never seen the human body in his entire life. The way the noses were drawn, the length of one arm to the next. The only reason anyone would celebrate such a catastrophe is simply to pity him for his own failed efforts. Ugh. He's offended when I tell him this, but as his friend, I owe him the truth.
I will keep trying to do what I cannot yet do. If he were a friend, then he would know that I'm on the right path. I can no longer worry about what others think of me.
Theo, Paris has been so boring without you. How are you feeling, old chap? I felt awful leaving you at the train station. I never have left a friend in such a state before.
Dreas, it is so good to see you. Thank you for agreeing to come. It's so much nicer to have a friend with me.
Well, I had to meet this brother of yours after all. So uncivilized, such a raw human. Does he speak at all or only grunt?
Well, he tells me that he likes to paint from emotion.
He looks like a regular old steam engine, puffing away on his pipe. You do have your hands full, don't you?
My brother and I, we understand each other. Well, at least I think we do at some times.
As one could understand a wild dog.
Well, that's a little too far. He's my brother.
I don't mean to offend you or him. I'm just taken aback by it all. I admire his lack of social graces and his ability to live on the very edge of expectation. I'm sure he'll fit in just splendidly in Paris. I can't believe you even consider it. Do you know what that could do to your career?
Don't think that I have not thought about any of that. And besides, I wouldn't be seeing what's happening now.
One look at your brother Vincent, I can assure you he will never fit into Paris society.
Oh, and we do.
Speaking of which, I am worried about your appearance as well.
My appearance?
Seems to me you've been partaking too heavily in what Paris has to offer, particularly Paris nightlife. Too much drinking, too many women.
It's just a soot, that is all. I can breathe much better in the countryside.
Promise you'll see a doctor if the country does not fix your health.
A little time away is all that I need.
Try and put your best foot forward when you meet my family tomorrow. I don't want to have to explain 2 Van Gogh brothers to them. Come on. my sister Jo.
In all my travels, in all art, contemporary and classical, I have never seen a woman so beautiful in all my life. My life has changed from this very moment.
Theo, did you hear me? Did you hear the news? I'm an engaged man!
Wonderful!
Yes, good old chap.
This is Annie. She'll be moving with me to Paris. Theo?
Best boss. Come, let's have a rest. We'll catch up, son.
Such a fine young.
My dearest Vincent, what we know and what we don't know about love could fill an ocean. I have returned to Paris, alone and lost, and it is ended in misery. It is for the best. Keep painting with emotion. There really is something to it all. Have you visited the new Rijksmuseum? Keep lightening your palette. Have you looked in detail at the paintings of Manet? As you tell me, dear brother, live boldly.
Dear Theo, I have taken your advice with not just my color, but with my life. I've moved to Antwerp and my mind races with new ideas. The light is different here. I am painting feverishly, but am low on money. I smoke to keep the hunger away. I know Ma tells me to eat, but I cannot afford food and art on the money that you send me. I don't wish to complain, but perhaps now you will see again why it is best for us to live together. You wouldn't have to pay rent for 2 apartments. Please let me come to Paris. I've lost 10 teeth already. Dear Theo, I want to live with you. I want to come to Paris. The sadness has taken a hold of me here. I'm brother. I am your brother. I'm begging you, brother to brother. The rent is due. Please don't be angry with me. I am here in Paris. I will wait for you by the entrance of the Louvre. All will be well. Come quickly.
Dear Will, things are working out much better between Vincent and I. We've recently moved into a larger apartment, 54 Rue Le Pec in Montmartre. We live on the 3rd floor above an art gallery. I mean, we even turned one room into a studio for Vincent. And, well, thanks to him and his large personality, we have made loads of new friends, mostly fellow painters. Dreas would tell you that Vincent living here was a mistake. He doesn't know Vincent as we do. For the most part, we are happy. Tell Ma not to worry. Thank you for coming out with a new crowd.
I tried to tell my brother for years that I need to be in Paris.
We know to see the light.
To feel the light.
To see the dots and dashes.
You see dashes, George. I only see dots.
Wait, dots? I didn't notice any.
Very funny. Do you know how painstakingly intentional each one of those dots is?
Oh, it gives me a headache to think about.
No, it is all the liquor that is giving you the headache, Van Gogh. Some of you can't seem to hold your alcohol.
Oh, yes, and you can. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we still talking about the same Paul Gauguin?
Oh, yeah.
Just want to make it clear.
Have you ever tried drinking with stockbrokers?
Vincent!
Fair enough.
Tell us what your discoveries in Paris. How has seeing our work changed you?
It's nice to hear that someone appreciates the new movement.
Oh, are you part of this new movement, Bernard?
Have another drink, gentlemen.
Oh, gladly. I'll take the absinthe.
I never touch the stuff.
The Green Fairy.
What is it again, Wormwood?
And anise.
I'll take one as well.
Oh, that's the spirit, Van Gogh.
Is that how you see your dots and dashes?
Your world of color. How many blades on the Milan, Van Gogh?
How about a coffee instead?
Always the brother.
Yes, or the mother.
Shall we return to the conversation of art? Isn't that why we are here?
Or love?
I really am with a bunch of artists.
Let's have a toast. To what shall we say?
To color!
To light!
To sculpture.
Who invited Rodin again?
Monet and the Impressionist movement.
He isn't even here.
Okay, well then. To Impressionist art being shown in proper galleries.
Yes. To women.
I'll drink to that.
To women.
Perfect timing, darling. We're glad you are here. What do you say to allow us artists to put on a show here at your fine establishment?
What's in it for me?
Oh, yes. Anything you want.
We can talk about it later, Vincent.
There's no better time than now. We will put on a show here. Theo can show me how it's done. No more begging to be in an art gallery entrance.
Here.
This is Montmartre. This is where we call the shots. If they want our art, let them come to us.
Yeah! And I will show my collection of Japanese prints. I have a fine collection.
I do love art in the Japanese style.
I'm sorry. Are you a gallerist now?
Oh, enough about the Prince, Van Gogh. What about our work?
Gauguin, there will be something here for everyone. Augustina will see it's done.
Yes.
Will she?
Vincent, I'm impressed by your work. No one works as diligently as you. You may have more passion than anyone at that table.
I'm learning more every day.
Perhaps it is us who could learn a little something from you.
Dear Will, all was well in Paris for a while, but as the bitter chill of winter came, so did bad feelings. Us Van Gogh brothers have never been well kept indoors. I don't need to tell you how difficult he is to live with. But as warm weather returns, so do good feelings. Still, I feel that it is best for all of us if I take just a little time away. I'm coming to visit you and the family. I will leave Dreas in charge of Vincent for now. Let us hope that they fare better than one might expect. Vincent, I need some final words of encouragement.
You've never needed my encouragement before. Oh, will you take a look at my latest drawings, will you? I'm working on a study of the Moulin de la Galette. Do you know I find the night to have far more color in life than the day?
That's Paris for you.
Oh, please, will you take a look? I'm trying to use a bit of mathematics, and I've gone back to the perspective frame for accuracy. Oh, do you think you could sell any of those?
Dear brother, please let me clear what is on my head and on my heart before I look at your drawings again. I really do feel that my situation is most dire.
Out with it then. Let's revisit your plan once more.
I am going to go to visit Jo Bonga. I am going to confess my love to her, and I'm going to propose.
Is she aware of your feelings?
No, I do not think so.
Well, I, for one, have lost the desire for marriage or children.
Well, that isn't encouraging.
I had a family with seed.
Let us not revisit this again.
And Margot, what has become of her? I asked to marry one woman. She wants to jump off a bridge, the other to die by poisoning herself.
And what of Augustina from the cafe? I have seen you have made many paintings of her already.
She is a complicated woman. I am now 35 years old and would rather stick to painting.
Well, my heart longs for Jo. I have longed for her for 2 whole years. I can no longer wait for our life together to begin. I will tell her all the reasons why we should be together.
Love is a feeling. Most women don't require reasons.
But Jo is a practical woman. She can be reasoned with. I know that if she just gave herself the chance to get to know me, she could learn to love me.
I wish you all the best. I am certain that you will convince her.
Now, I don't want you to worry about how things will change once I am a married man. I will still continue to support you and your art. I made a promise.
I don't want you to have to support me. I want my art to be able to support me. If my art would just start to sell, then you wouldn't have to worry so much about money. I may work a lifetime and never pay you back.
Vincent, how many times do I have to tell you? I'm not worried about any of that. I don't even really want you to pay me back.
Theo, you own all I have ever made and ever will make. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
I want you to promise me to take care of your health.
As do you.
We must become men together. We must stay healthy. When you return from your trip, I should like to paint your portrait.
I would like that.
Well, hello. It's a pleasure to see my brother's friends again. I heard you were coming. Are you in town for a long while?
Not terribly long, actually. I came to see you.
You came to see me.
Do you mind if we sit and talk a while?
My parents will be along shortly.
Well, then I will come right out of it, then. Joe, I love you. I have been in love with you since the day I laid eyes on you. My heart has longed for you and only you for 2 whole years.
I don't know what to say. I barely know you. You barely know me. Don't you think that 2 people should know each other to be in love with each other?
Well, I think that if you gave yourself the chance to get to know me, then you would love me. Let me tell you all the reasons why we would have a great life together. I imagine us living in Paris. We could be surrounded by art and intellectual conversation. You could still play the piano. We could visit the museums, and when we see the Netherlands, we can go see our families. Joe, I want to marry you.
Theo, no. There's no future for us.
Will you at least permit me to write to you? Let's at least give ourselves the chance to get to know each other better.
Tell me, Vincent, what do you call it again when you paint with those thick layers?
It is called impasto. It is Italian for mixture.
Meaning the paint can be mixed right on the canvas.
It might as well be called wasting paint.
Why do you think he's always running down to Tengi's place? Dreas, you're starting to sound like Gauguin. I wonder how Panama's been treating him.
It must be too much time with Vincent.
How have you 2 been getting along, anyways?
In a strange twist of fate, me and Vincent are getting on quite well.
We've been trying to help Theo. We've been trying to get him to leave Scoopal and start his own studio.
Really? What an excellent idea.
And we are in support of him marrying my sister, Jo.
You're practically a Van Gogh brother yourself, Dreas.
Theo is a good friend, and Vincent, well, he grows on you. I will be the first to admit I was not in favor of his move to Paris, but I worried for Theo's health. But as you can clearly see, Vincent is improving.
I am glad to see that he has taken some of my advice, adding turpentine to the pigments.
Really, Lautrec? What an excellent idea. I shall try it myself.
You will need to work quickly and use blotting paper to soak up the oils. That is not the only piece of advice that the other Van Gogh has taken. We have been talking a lot lately about the south of France.
What is in the south of France?
Adolphe Monticelli was from the south of France. He was from Marseille. I owe so much of my art to him. When I arrived in Paris and saw his work in person, I felt braver after seeing it.
Monticelli was friends with Cézanne. He died not too long ago.
And I want to pick up where he left off. Continue his legacy.
You have a legacy of your own in due time.
Monticelli would say that he paints for 30 years. I fear our friend Vincent is doing the same.
That is why Theo and I want to start a gallery of our own.
There's something else in the south. I saw it when I arrived in Nice.
And what is that?
The Mistral? Haven't you heard of her? The lion that claws its way through the south. In the winter, she is strong and cold and unforgiving.
That sounded a bit like our friend Vincent here in the winter months.
Yes, but when the weather starts to warm, the light shines different. The sun shines different. The air is clear, and you can see the mountains from miles and miles away.
I long for clean air to improve my health and my mood. As you all know, I have long suffered from melancholy. I suffer when it is gray and cold. The sun and warmth may help improve my overall state. I don't think I could spend another winter in this place.
But Vincent, you have a community of artists here. You have your brother.
Gauguin told me about the colony of artists in the south. Bernard, you went there as well. Perhaps I'll start an artist colony of my own, in honor of the great Monticelli. Maybe there is something to the light in the south.
Maybe.
Dear Joe, let me start again. I don't want you to think that you don't know me, that we don't know each other, so I will start from the beginning. Or should I instead start from the most important thing about me and my life? Joe, you should know that I have a brother. He and I are extremely close, as if our lives are permanently intertwined. I cannot even imagine my life without him. He can be at times difficult, opinionated, and fiery. But at other times, he can have just the most tender heart. To know me is to know my brother Vincent. You cannot have me without him. Dear Vincent, it is hard to miss you when I see your face everywhere on these walls. Your paintings and drawings tell the story of where you have been and what you've accomplished. You have been gone only a few hours, and yet I profoundly miss you. This winter, I felt I could not have a moment's peace with you here, and now I would trade this silence away in a heartbeat. You should know that things with Jo are over for good. She has at last given me a firm no. Please be well, my brother.
Hello, Mr. Van Gogh. What will you be working on today?
Oh, Roulon, I can't decide where to begin. There's just so much to be seen. The bright colors, the light, the beauty of the Arlesian.
Oh, the women of Isle are known for their beauty the world over. No wonder you decided not to continue on to Marseille.
It is how I pictured Japan. The beauty of the countryside. There's just so much to be seen. Lautrec was right about the light. The Mistral.
Oh, you haven't seen the Mistral yet, my boy. She'll blow that hat in your canvas straight to Corsica. Have you been to a bullfight?
I painted there last night. The energy of the crowd was captivating. Roulon, I feel alive here.
I came to deliver a letter from your brother.
Oh, I have one for you to deliver to him as well. I can't seem to find the proper words to describe the beauty of this place. I told him to ask one or two of his friends to join me here. Thank you. I'm trying to start an artist colony of my own.
You mean there could be more of you down here banging into everyone with an easel on your back?
Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Why do you always use the yellow envelopes?
It is how I picture Japan. No, it is my favorite color. It is the color of my highest mood. It is the color of wheat, of sunflowers, of wheat. It is the color of my highest mood. My soul feels on fire in yellow. A yellow high note.
I don't know much about colors and feelings, but is that why your new house is yellow?
With green shutters. I'm filling each room with pictures of sunflowers. We'll need to purchase a bed and several chairs. There's so much space and light.
You are making quite a home for yourself here.
Thank you, Rulon, for all of your kindness, for letting me paint your new family, your baby.
Not a problem at all. Gave me an excuse to sit down and rest my tired legs. It isn't always easy being a postman in the summer heat. Well, I better get your letter posted. I am sure you have more written by morning. Say, between all this painting and writing, when do you sleep?
Sometimes I lose my mind and all sense of time in the process of painting. Sleep will have to wait. Dear Will, I wish you could see the sky tonight. I'm trying to paint the stars, the shimmering contrasts. I feel like a jeweler holding precious gems up to the night sky to watch them shine. The night sky, a Prussian blue. The terrace, lemon yellow with touches of orange and vermilion. You would like it here. Dear Theo, I am so inspired here. Sometimes I finish a painting a day, and yet, like the mistral wind, I'm torn from the inside out of despair and self-doubt. I'm thrilled that Gauguin is coming, and yet I worry that my work, my studio will not meet his expectations. Sending a handshake in thought, your loving Vincent.
My dearest Vincent, the canvases you've sent me have arrived, and they are superb. I have no doubt that you will soon get the recognition that you deserve. You are right. Now that I am also supporting Gauguin and helping to sell his art, it is far more practical for you two to be living together. The 15 francs a month for rent will go much farther for two artists than for one. Stop worrying about trying to use cheaper paints. I already told you. I will take care of everything. And besides, I have good news. I have sold one of your paintings. Things are starting to happen for us.
Dear Theo, that is excellent news. I couldn't be more pleased. I'm working harder than ever with Gauguin's arrival drawing close. In place of sleep, I have been doing a study of my bedroom. It is a true testament to color. Perhaps looking at the bed will inspire rest. Dear Theo, I spent so much money getting the house ready. I fear I may work a lifetime and never pay you back. I wish you could sell another one of my paintings. If I knew more were selling, I wouldn't worry so much about asking for money for paints.
Dear brother, take care of your health. Stop your mind from this endless cycle of worry. If you want to paint, paint for yourself. I just want you to be happy. Enjoy Gauguin's company and friendship. I hope that some companionship will do you good.
How many pictures of sunflowers do we need in this house? Dead sunflowers, half-dead sunflowers, a study of 3 sunflowers, 1 sunflower laying down.
I quite enjoy looking at them. They remind me of happier times.
Oh, yes, I had happier times too, on the island of Martinique. Yeah, I lived there on a small hut. You want to talk about color? The waters were cobalt blue. I'll paint the image now from my memory, my imagination. of the island, surrounded by native symbolism.
I prefer to paint from what is right in front of me, from life.
Oh, you want to be a real artist, Van Gogh? You need to learn how to use your damn imagination. Actually, I have been painting you. Painting your precious sunflowers. Here, have a look.
Paint me as if I were a madman.
No, I paint from realism. Oh, it is getting late, and I am tired of painting. You work me far too hard. Come, let's go drink and meet women. Let's go drink with women. Or are you going to be stuck here like a monk painting your damn flowers? That's the spirit, boy. That's the spirit.
Good evening, Mr. Van Gogh. I haven't seen you in a while. Do you want to come over this week for dinner?
Get out of the way, old man. Back to your post.
That's my friend Roulan.
Oh, you asked me why I painted you as the madman? Did your brother ever tell you that I am a master fencer, a swashbuckler? No, yes. You would not believe just how agile I am when it comes to a game of foils. Stand at attention, Van Gogh. You can use your precious brush to defend you. On guard! You think your life was hard with your brother nursing you like a little baby? You would have died in Panama.
I know suffering. I used to be a missionary in the boarding.
No, you have seen suffering. I have suffered. I was eaten alive by mosquitoes when I dug in the Panama Canal. I was marched at gunpoint. I contracted yellow fever and dysentery, and then was left there to die in that sweltering tropical heat. And yet, here I stand, an artist who started later than you, more successful than you.
Let us be friends and supportive of one another.
Oh, no, were we friends last night when you threw another drink in my face? I'm here because I am penniless. We are not friends. I trust your brother to sell my art, but instead he sends me here to die in this hovel with his mad brother.
You don't mean that.
Oh, I have had enough of the women and the wine. I write to Theo. I leave in the morning.
No, please. You can't leave, please. I'll be so lonely.
No, get off of me!
But it is Christmas. Go, God! Go, God!
Stay back! It is done. I write to Theo. He takes the train for the night to Arles. I inform the police of what happened. That in a fit of mania, Vincent has cut his left ear straight off. When I found him in the morning, he was barely conscious, the bedding soaked in his own blood. I thought he may die. I hadn't slept there. It was a good thing. He was waving that razor around like a lunatic. Who knows what he was capable of? Oh, I begged Theo to take me home on the next train to Paris. The police informed me that Vincent had actually taken that ear, wrapped up like a package, and given it to a woman outside the brothel. He told them to keep it carefully for him. Can you believe it? Oh. Will he live?
I don't know. He's lost a considerable amount of blood. I should have seen this coming. I have been preoccupied. As it were, I am now an engaged man.
Engaged?
Yes. After 3 long years of waiting, Jo Bonga has finally accepted my proposal. She found herself in Paris, and I took the chance once more to confess my love to her. And this time she realized she loved me back. I had wanted to tell Vincent the news, and now I fear I might not get the chance.
Oh, no. You must return to her at once. There is nothing here you can do.
I'm returning to Paris today. I hate leaving so soon, but I know that he is in good hands with Dr. Ray. When he is lucid, showing signs of madness.
No.
Who knows how long he could be there? I will take you with me.
Excellent. I'll go gather my things. Yes. There were good times, too, these past few months. We had a time of it. Like 2 bachelors. We'd stand in the fields painting. We'd brag about the women we'd meet and the places we'd struggled in. He'd talk about you. It just did not last. I'd like to give you a portrait that I've done of him, painting his sunflowers as it always was. In return, I'd like one of the paintings that he had done of his sunflowers. Although it may be bittersweet, he says it reminded him of happier times. Perhaps it'll do the same to me.
Of course. Wait for me at the Yellow House. It is just me now, brother. I've got you. I hate to see you suffer as you do. It pains me. I wonder how much of you truly remains. Will you still be the brother that I once knew? Vincent, if you can hear this, I'm getting married. After many years of waiting, Jo Bonga has finally accepted my proposal. I know you understand better than anyone the agony of wait. Let this news be a testament to hope. Perhaps there is some hope for us Van Gogh brothers after all.
What news of Vincent?
They are no longer talking of committing him to an asylum. They feel he may be well enough to leave shortly.
And the fever?
All has been resolved these past few weeks. He intends to return to the Yellow House as if nothing has happened.
Has he still never told you what happened the night in Arles?
No. And I dare not ask for fear of relapse. I feel he's on the razor's edge of sanity, and the slightest wind could blow him to the wrong side of it.
I worry about him as if he were my own brother. Looking at these paintings on our walls, I'm drawn to them, and I feel like I know him so well already.
He worried so much that he had troubled me, tearing me from work and making me take the train and all that. And he just never wants to be a burden for anyone. He told me once that all he really wanted was for people to see how deeply he loved.
Do you think he's happy for us?
As I lay with him in the hospital bed, I held him in my arms and told him of our engagement. And although he was barely conscious, I swore I saw him smile. He cherishes nothing more than family. And you are my family now, Joe.
Rulon, I'm glad you are here. I've been working on a study of myself wrapped in this bandage. Perhaps when I get back to the yellow house, I shall do a full portrait. I was thinking of wearing a fur cap and perhaps smoking my pipe.
That would be quite the look, Mr. Van Gogh.
I may need to paint myself in profile going forward.
Or many hats.
I'm surprised Gauguin didn't take the opportunity to paint me as Monet's dead Toreador. He told me he liked to paint me using realism.
Forget that fool Gauguin, will you? He was nothing but trouble. Let's get you back to your paintings.
They're all I've thought about.
Get out of here! All of you! Are you going to harm an ill man? Let's get you home, Mr. Van Gogh. Don't listen to them. You are a better man than all of them put together.
Dear Joe, now that you're away in Amsterdam, I have no idea how I lived without you for so long. I long to lay my head in your lap and forget the worries of the world.
Mr. Van Gogh, I sent you news of your brother Vincent. He is not well. He tried throwing himself back into his work. It is all he longed for, but the town would hear none of it and wouldn't let the man have a moment's peace.
My dearest love, I have been mounting a display for the Impressionist Claude Monet, and it has drained every last bit of my energy. I sometimes worry that I too suffer from sadness, as I can't seem to shake the somber mood. Perhaps it is because you are so far away.
Your brother has become mute at times and hides in the closet when I try to visit him. Other times he is frightened and paranoid. He thinks someone is trying to hurt him. The doctors are saying it may be best for him to go to an asylum.
My dearest Vincent, I hope that you are able to read this. I hate that there are so many miles between us and that I can't be by your side. I believe you to be a genius, and I hate that you work so hard with no reward. I know that what you want most is just to leave something beautiful to the world. And by God, have you done it already?
Mr. Van Gogh, I regret to inform you that your brother is being held at the hospital. This time he has been brought by the police. The neighbors have been frightened by his erratic behavior and have drawn up a petition to the mayor urging him to remove Vincent from the city of Arles. He is too sick to write.
These are absolutely superb. His best work to date.
He found the light in the South. I knew he would.
It's hard to celebrate his success knowing he sits in an asylum.
He sees himself as one of the sick. Perhaps he is, at least for now. Will he recover, Theo?
Joe and I hope that he will stay in Saint-Remy only a few months longer.
Saint-Remy? I thought he was in the hospital in Arles.
At the advice of Reverend Searles, Vincent has checked himself into the asylum in Provence.
Can he still paint there?
Of course he can paint. Do you know of any man who could stop our dear Vincent from painting?
You are quite right, Lautrec. And I have made all the necessary arrangements. He will have as much freedom as possible and as much time as needed to paint on the grounds. It is really quite beautiful. There are mountains and olive groves. There's a little chapel adjacent to the main building. There are courtyards full of irises and lavender. I mean, you really have to see it.
I'm sure that if anyone could find beauty within an asylum's walls, it will be Vincent.
Theo told me that since the rooms are not all full, Vincent will be given a small studio. Isn't that lovely?
He's already sent me an order for new paints. I can't help but to think that in making these, Vincent pushed himself to the extreme. He put his mind in danger to have this artistic breakthrough.
You and I both know your brother never took care of himself.
He never ate.
And he and absinthe do not mix.
Lautrec, are you not the man who mixes absinthe with cognac?
Shaken with ice. But I am not Vincent.
Dear Vincent, or may I call you brother, I wanted to wait until Theo and I were married to begin to write to you. I hope that you will learn to consider me a part of your family now, and even someday we will learn to love each other. You're not alone in this world. Theo and I both care for you dearly, and we talk about you every day. Every morning when I wake, I look at these paintings on our walls and wonder about you. I admire how you see the world, its beauty. My eyes cannot see the magic that you can. I long for the day that we get to meet face to face.
Dear Mr. Van Gogh, I've taken careful observations of your brother over the past several months. At times, he suffers from acute mania with epileptic fits. He has periods of delirium and hallucinations which lead to night terrors. The seizures and general confusion could be attributed to excessive drinking and exposure to potassium bromide and carbon monoxide. These temporary fits are also worsened by excessive fatigue from being overworked and extreme malnutrition. We do not yet know if he will be able to live on his own outside of this institution. Vincent, are you awake? How are you feeling today?
It is hard to paint with bars on the window. It's hard to capture the light.
Can you not look past the bars? Use your imagination.
I prefer to paint from life, to capture the mastery of God's work.
When I look at your paintings, it seems you're using your imagination without even knowing it. I look out the same window, stare at the same olive grove, and yet I cannot see your painting and that grove as the same.
I add what I feel. I want people to feel deeply when they look at my work.
Vincent, I think you are feeling very deeply for everyone sometimes. Try to look past the bars. The stars are out tonight.
The sight of the stars always makes me dream. I shall paint the night sky as a great wave crashing, a whirlpool in which we are sucked in as we sleep. In death shall we visit the stars?
Dear brother, I write to you with the greatest news. This coming winter we'll be having a baby, and we'd like for you to be the godfather. We have a favor to ask. We hope that you allow us to call him Vincent, after you. We can think of no better name for our little boy.
Dear Theo and Joe, many congratulations to you both. I send you a hearty handshake for the great news. But why Vincent? Perhaps you'll be more content to name the baby after Pa. Please be well. The baby will need 2 healthy parents.
My dear brother, another crate of your paintings has arrived. You are a true genius. I marvel at you. You should know that Theo is not well. He has lost even more weight. I do not wish to trouble you, but if he does not write often, this is why.
Unfortunately, we must remove his painting effects for the time being. Please move them to his studio and lock the door. This is the 2nd time he's tried poisoning himself by eating his paints. He appears to be stable and sleeping. We will have to notify the family. Also, take the lamp as well. He's tried drinking the lamp oil as well.
Dear Vincent, I will keep this letter brief. I'm in labor and my water is just broken. Despite my condition, I write this letter to tell you something terribly important. You must know that there is no one in the world whom your brother Theo loves more than you. He has made me so happy, and I hope he never regrets our marriage and life together. He told me once that I could never have him without you. Now I'm lucky enough to love you both. I hope you'll learn to love me and the baby a little too.
Dear Vincent, Dr. Perron has informed me of your recent difficulties, and I do hope this episode will be brief. You should stay away from paints and stick to drawing for the time being. The little one cries a lot, but he is a fine boy. I write with some news that should help lift your spirits. You have had your first critical review. I have included several copies of the article with this letter. Albert Aria has called you a worthy successor to the Dutch masters. Can you believe it? What a compliment. I mean, he goes on to call you dazzling, intense, and feverish. Joe and I would have to agree. Now, you'll have to read the rest of it for yourself. I do not want to spoil it. One more thing. I hope that little Vincent Willem will be as courageous as you. Please be well, brother.
To Mr. Albert Aria, thank you for your kind review. I was very surprised. Though there is a painter who deserves far more credit and recognition than I. It is Monticelli, his style, his intensity of color. Please take a look at the Monticelli painting that my brother Theo has in his collection. And also take a look at the paintings by Gauguin. They are both far better artists than I could ever dream of being. Dear Theo, I'm happy to hear of all the wonderful news from the 5th exhibition of the Independence. Please ask Mr. Aria not to write to me again. I do not wish to draw such attention to myself. I hope that baby Vincent enjoys looking at the almond blossoms. They are perhaps the best painting I have ever made. I am quite pleased with it. I wonder if I will ever be able to work outside these asylum walls again.
Do my eyes deceive me, or are there two brothers here together at last?
The moment is real, my love. May I finally introduce you to my dear brother, Vincent Van Gogh.
It is great to meet the family. Thought this day would never come.
The pleasure is ours. As you can see, our home is quite a tribute to your work, to your life.
Has it really been over a year since we've spoken face to face?
I feared it'd be longer. I thought I would never leave Saint Remy.
I think that being closer to family will be a good change. You'll be only 20 miles away in Anvers. It's only a short train ride away. Joe and I could see you much more frequently.
Baby Vincent, may I see him?
Of course. He's just over here in the bassinet.
Oh. He's beautiful. Will you bring him with you to see me in Anvers? I'd love to show him the beauty of the countryside.
Of course. How long will you be staying here?
Dr. Gachet is expecting Vincent in only a few days.
Oh, tell me more about the doctor. You said he was also an artist.
Well, he is a doctor first, but he does dabble in art, from what I'm told. He came strongly recommended by Pissarro. Also, from what I've heard, he has a garden in which he practices homeopathic medicine.
Yes, but will he be treating me?
Well, he knows that you're coming, and he has agreed to look after you. The most important thing is that you're getting a change of scenery and much-needed rest. All we ever really want is the best for you.
Will Vincent be living with Dr. Gachet then?
No. Vincent will be living on his own. There are a few options for lodging. We'll sort that all out in the next coming days. For now, let's just enjoy each other's company, surrounded by the marvelous work of Vincent Van Gogh. Some of which you probably forgot you painted at all. You really do make quite a lot of work. I mean, you've given Joe and I quite the challenge as to figure out where to hang it all. Almost 10 years of work. Where shall we begin?
Ah, Vincent! Come in, come in, come in. Welcome to my humble abode. When did you arrive?
Just a few hours ago. I got my things settled and I took a walk up past the church around the wheat fields. I feel ready to begin working straight away.
That's good. That's quite good. Settled? Where might that be?
At the Auberge Revue.
Oh, that won't do. Certainly not.
Why is that?
We will find you something better. I'll have my daughter Marguerite sort it out. Marguerite! Marguerite, come quickly!
Oh, that isn't necessary.
Oh, hush, hush, here she is.
Yes, Father?
First, I would like to introduce you to a new friend of mine and yours. Marguerite, this is Mr. Vincent Van Gogh. He is an artist from Paris.
I'm not from Paris, I'm from the Dutch village of Zander.
Paris is far more exciting. Always lead with a strong charge. If you're an artist, no matter where you were born, you are from Paris now.
Father, perhaps Vincent is proud to be Dutch.
Run along now, darling.
But you called me.
Ah, yes. We cannot allow Vincent to stay in that hole at the Revue. Please find him a room where our dear friend Suzanne stays.
Oh, that isn't necessary. I quite like the Revue already. They're including 3 meals a day.
You're going to wish they don't.
After eating out the kitchens of St. Paul and Saint Remy for a year, I think it will all be just fine.
As you wish. Now, how long were you going to have me wait? I see you brought some work with you. Is it recent? Let us sit together on this bench and take a look. Your brother Theo was right about you. Extraordinary. Do you smoke a pipe? Let us smoke together on this occasion to celebrate our newfound friendship.
I don't have it with me.
That is quite all right. Marguerite will fetch another. Marguerite! Marguerite!
You don't have to call her back.
Yes, Father?
Go and fetch another pipe from my top desk drawer. It is an occasion to celebrate.
And what are we celebrating?
Why, Vincent, of course. I know he'll do great things here in Auvers. Vincent, what do you make of these gardens?
It's far more green and yellow here than in Auvers. In Aarhus, everything was sun-drenched, golds and yellows. Here, the wind seems to get tangled in the vine, get tangled in the cypress.
Splendid. That is what I want to hear. The inner thoughts of an artist. Thank you, my darling. Now leave us to it. I've sorted out a plan for you. A treatment for your melancholia and nervous conditions. I shall recommend that you paint every day from sunup to sundown. Being that it is May, the sun will remain up for quite long. You can take breaks for food as necessary, but I shall recommend that you stay as busy as possible. With the beauty of these surroundings, you will not find that hard.
My brother Theo thought I should also try to get some rest.
Who is the doctor here? He means well, your brother. However, I'm not only a doctor, but a fellow artist. I understand the artist's mind.
My brother Theo knows me better than anyone.
In due time, you may come to see me as a brother as well. After all, we could pass for brothers on the streets with our red hair and eccentricities. May I hang on to these? I think I'll do a study of your work. I like to dissect the style, follow the inner workings of a brush.
Sure, but I will need to send them back to my brother.
All in due time. And I'll have you paint my portrait and the portrait of my daughter Marguerite. If that's all right with you, of course.
I quite enjoy doing portraits when I can. If a person can capture the essence of a person, they can live on forever.
Yes. I suppose you are right. Well, we'll get right to it then next week. And I'll have you for dinner on Sundays to check in on your progress. Maybe even have your brother and his family here when you are up for it.
I would like that very much.
Well, off with you then. Let us not waste the day. You've work to be done.
Dear Theo and Joe, Auvers is incredibly beautiful. It is truly the heart of the countryside. I met with Dr. Gachet this afternoon, and I am quite concerned that he suffers from a similar nervous disorder. Perhaps he will benefit from the same prescriptions that he prescribes his own patients. I have no confidence at the moment that he'll be able to cure me. I did find a place to stay that includes 3 meals a day for 3.5 francs. The slanted attic ceilings of the roof remind me of home. Your loving brother, Vincent.
Tell me again about your plan for my portrait. I was very pleased with the study, but I want to know your thoughts on the color. Will I be in blue as your self-portrait in Saint-Remy? Or perhaps in violet, the violet sky of Auvers?
Must you question me so much while I work?
Well, surely you have a plan. I want to understand your mind. And why this position? Is as if my neck can no longer support the weight of my head.
It is to represent your grief, your inner depression.
I asked that you paint me in the style of your self-portrait.
That's what I'm doing. You asked me to paint, and I paint what I feel. It's not just your own depression, it is mine. From losing your wife.
Now, wait a minute. I am the doctor here, not the patient.
I am the artist. You said yourself how nothing is getting better, it is all getting worse.
I was talking about the rising prices here.
We are all longing for something.
To that end, you are correct. And the color. Tell me about the color.
Your cap will remain white, your hair red against a background of cobalt blue.
Go on, go on.
The foxglove a deep purple, your face a sun-drenched brick.
Now, wait a minute. My face, the color of a brick.
Yes, to represent you hardened like the earth, a sun-scorched terroir.
My face will match this table. And now, in fact, I'm thrown into a fit of depression.
It is absolutely wonderful. There's so much pain in the eyes. No matter what my father tells you, he is simply ecstatic that you're painting his portrait. He'll spend the next few months trying to pick apart how you did it.
And he calls me a friend, yet he paints me with the broken heart of grief.
I think Vincent is truly a friend for painting all that he feels. Now, will you be painting my portraits in the garden?
If you will permit me, or perhaps at your piano.
I would like that very much.
Run along, darling. Don't distract our dear friend.
She was no trouble.
I don't want anything to pull you from your work. Now, where were we? Do you mind if I rest my arm? I could use a quick reprieve. What were you telling me of Gauguin? What's the news?
He wants to continue our dream of an artist colony in the South.
Our dream? That was your dream, and a lot good it did you. The South is no place for a northerner. The sun from the Mediterranean can be poisonous to someone from the north if they are not careful. Never go back there.
But if Gauguin does make it to Madagascar, he says that we can live cheaply. He says we can live in clay huts and grow our own food. Gauguin says that the tropics are the future of art.
My dear Vincent, you've been in Auvers but a short while. It may not be the tropics, but let us enjoy these gardens but a while longer. And besides, are we not an artist here alone?
There are others staying at the Revue.
They are not artists, they are scribblers.
So does they did too, not long ago.
Vincent, you need not discredit yourself. Men like us, we need to pave our own destiny forward. You do not need to follow Gauguin to the distant tropics. There's nowhere more beautiful than where we stand.
I want Theo to bring his family here, Joe and the little one. I worry for his health.
The only health you need to worry about is your own.
Do not think that the country air would benefit his health. You've seen him, how frail he is.
Of course the country air would benefit him. But have you considered that he enjoys a life in the city? Enjoys a life with his wife and his baby away from you. I don't want to upset you, but Vincent, you are a grown man. Let Theo be more than a brother. He is a husband and a father now. Why do you think he has left me to care for you? There are two things I know to be true. He wants you to be happy, and he wants you to continue painting. One, I'm certain you can do. The other, we will work at together. You just said we're all longing for something. You're not the only one longing for happiness here. Now, where were we?
Oh, Mr. Vincent, I didn't see you yesterday.
Yes, I went to Paris to see my brother.
Back again so soon?
It didn't go so well. There was a lot of arguing. I shouldn't tell you this.
You don't have to talk as if we don't know each other. I've served your meal every day for weeks. You painted my portrait. Although you didn't say a word to me, you just smoked your pipe. Always in the mornings with your pipe in your mouth, you leave with your easel and your art box at exactly 9 o'clock.
I've never been good with people.
That may be so, but you're great with my baby sister Jermaine, always drawing on the slate with her, sitting her on your lap after dinner.
Did you enjoy your portrait?
I don't know much about art, monsieur. I didn't mean to offend it, but it didn't look like me.
Like I said, I've never been good with people.
That may be so, but I can tell you were kind. You have a very agreeable smile.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
I'll see you at breakfast.
My dear brother, I feel as though I am being torn apart at the very root. The storm is threatening me again as it threatens all of us. I worry for baby Vincent and his health. I wish so desperately that you would move to the country. It consumes my thoughts. There is a danger living in the city. I see how you suffer, how the cough you have had for years has worsened. Life is so incredibly fragile. I've been at work on a new canvas. I'm trying to express what my words cannot. It is a large expanse of golden wheat fields under a tumultuous sky. The crows lit from the field as if from a fright from a gunshot. The deep black and Prussian blue swallow the crows on their retreat. I want to express the extremes of loneliness. Please tell Ma when you see her that I think of her often. I wish you were here so badly.
Dear Vincent, I am sorry that you were so upset this previous visit. I wish you would have stayed longer. I did not know that Joe's placement of the Provost painting would have upset you as it did. I have demanded a raise from Gopal, and it has been weighing heavily on my mind. I do hope that they agree soon so that the price of our larger apartment isn't as taxing. Vincent, I'm beginning to worry that something is not quite right. Please, do talk to Dr. Gachet about it. Perhaps he can give you something that can calm your nerves. Sending a 50-franc note. Know that you are embraced in our thoughts.
Dear brother, I could write about so many things, but it all feels pointless. I've simplified my order for paints to only what is necessary. Take care of yourself.
Our sister Will would often say people remember the best of people once they're no longer here. Perhaps it would be best to try to see people as they are while they're still with us. In living my life as I have as an artist, perhaps death is not the most difficult thing. Is there a heaven that we arrive at when we take our last breath?
Monsieur Van Gogh, come quickly! Your brother Vincent, he has wounded himself.
When Mr. Vincent did not return from his meals, we were concerned about him. He stumbled in after night had fallen, holding his stomach. He climbed the stairs to his bedroom, and my father followed him. I have tried to kill myself. Those were the words he told my father. He sent for a doctor straight away. Dr. Gachet arrived, examined the wound, and left almost immediately. He said it was hopeless. Father lit his pipe for him and kept his company throughout the night until the arrival of his brother. I will never forget the look on that poor man's face as he climbed the stairs to his bedroom, not knowing what he would find.
Can you see the stars tonight?
Not quite as brilliantly as you can, I'm afraid. No chrome white, zinc yellow, or cobalt blue.
I could never quite paint things as I saw them through my eyes.
I have learned to prefer the story that your paintbrush tells. An explosion of color with swirls and patches, visible brushstrokes that burst into a fever of emotion. You were all that they talked about at the 6th exhibition of the Independence. Monet wrote to say that you were by far the best there.
I always wanted to die like this.
I'm afraid that you cannot. You must be saved from this pain once again. We've been here before, remember? A bandage wound tightly around your head, an aisle. Spare me the sadness.
The sadness, dear brother. It will last forever.
How terribly sad I was not to be at my husband's side on this terrible occasion. I wept for him and for the loss of my beloved brother Vincent. I tried so hard to love him as Theo did. He was buried on a hillside, past the church in Auvers, looking over the wheat fields that he loved. In just 6 months' time, I will be giving flowers to my own husband. He will destroy them as soon as he receives them. He will be held in an asylum, carried away in a straitjacket, battling the end-stage effects of cerebral syphilis. Once again, there is no hope. He will die alone in isolation at 33 years old. I made a promise to my husband to continue Vincent's legacy. I make it my life's work. He told me that people should know that he was a great artist, to that there is no doubt. I make another promise to myself, to show the world his heart, to show that through all of the pain, how deeply he loved.